Stage 10 took the riders up to around 1,000 metres and kept them up on a lumpy day through the alpine landscape that provides much of the country's hydroelectric power. It was Bastille Day, which the main field apparently decided to take as paid holiday.
Now, there's a good reason why the Sheep Farmers Cooperative of Sisteron have chosen this precise spot to place their giant advert. They're very well aware that very soon the race helicopter and the TV pictures will hone in on this heat-baked hairpin. The reason for that is Lance Armstrong will pass here for the final time in his long career. This was the scene of one of the defining moments in his racing career, the day that Joseba Bellocchi fell and he went cross-country. It was stage 9 of the 2003 centenary edition of the Tour. Joseba Bellocchi, who'd finished second to Armstrong the previous year, was riding alongside the defending champion on the sinuous, steep descent towards the finish line in Gap. They were both in pursuit of Alexander Vinokourov, who'd stolen a march on them as he went looking for the win.
Oh, and Bellocchi's gone down. Armstrong's off the road as well.
For Bellocchi, who'd hit the tarmac hard, it was the end of the Tour. He shattered his hip and was never quite the same rider again.
Armstrong, complete control there. He's into the field, but what a great bike rider. He's gone across. This is unbelievable. So, just over there, where another sharp-witted fellow has placed an Apple advert this time, that's the point where Armstrong left the road and came into this ploughed field. Sharp thinking, because if he'd left it 5 or 10 metres further on, that bank there is simply too steep to get off the road. He would have done himself damage. And then he headed down towards that pylon over here, across this field. And what's very noticeable when you stand here is just how steep it is. I've never seen this before. Armstrong went across the field there. He's back on the road at 4 kilometres to go. What great reflexes from the man from Texas.
On the television pictures, it doesn't look much. And indeed, to Armstrong, careering down the hill, it probably wouldn't have looked much until he got to this point. And only then do you realise that this ditch is the best part of 5 or 6 feet deep and then 3 foot up on the other side. There's no way he could have ridden across it, but to have the presence of mind to do what he did and to do it without looking foolish is quite remarkable because, I mean, I haven't even got a bike on, I'm not even carrying a bike. And that's how hard it is.
Vasil Kirienka and Sergio Paulinho look like they're going to be the two fighting for the stage win.
It's Portugal versus Belarus now. These two riders I don't think are going to be caught. It's pushing towards 1 minute for the chasers. The peloton are still in bed and it's over 12 minutes for them as they go under 15 kilometres to go. They haven't even started racing for the green jersey points yet and they're looking for the 7th place now. The peloton, the breakaway is 2 leaders, 3 chasers and Maxime Bouet out on his own behind.
So 5 kilometres to go around this corner. Kirienka keeping the pressure up nice and hard for him at the front. Now it's a question of surviving the gap that they've got now over the chasers. It's starting to stretch all of the time. It's just tickling the 1 minute mark. Oh, that's a very nasty little bend. Around the corner, they took the lines badly there. There's Nicholas Roach. We must have gone somewhere else in the race.
Well, wherever Nicholas is, has he got away from the front of the bunch?
It's Nicholas Roach, and I don't know where he is or what he's doing. He may well have tried to get out of the main field on his own to try and get himself a few extra points, and nobody's reacted at all there. So Nicholas Roach, who lost himself a little bit of time on a couple of the mountain stages, is looking to grab himself a few seconds here.
Well, he's 17th overall in the race here, and a few seconds would move him up 1 place. There is the bend where it all happened, traced by that yellow board there, but safe today. It was where Lance went charging down the grass bank there back in 2003. Joseba Bellocchi was left lying in the road with a broken leg. His tyre came off, he slipped in the met tar, and I think it's just as hot today, to be quite honest, Paul. The 2 leaders continue to swap their pacemaking here. There's still no indication as to who will make it. It's a big chance for both of them. None of them have been remotely winners of a stage of the Tour de France in the past. And in the case of Kirienka, it's his first Tour de France. Sergio Paulinho, it's his 3rd trip around. Kirienka certainly looks as though he's poising himself for a quick sprint to the line here. There's also a big battle going on for the team lead in the Tour de France. There is only a hatful of seconds separating Radio Shack and Case de Pan. Case de Pan have the advantage, so they've got to finish together to keep that race alive. These 3 are racing for 3rd.
They're racing for 3rd position. Mario Ertz on the far side. He's the man who started it all. Dries Devenens in the blue and white jersey there, he thought he was going to finish it off, but all of a sudden it all came back together, and then these two riders have stolen a margin over the rest of them.
1 kilometre from the finish of today's stage of the Tour de France. 2 riders in the peloton, 12 minutes behind today. Neither of these riders have been remotely near winning a stage of the Tour. For one of them, it'll be a huge celebration on Bastille Day.
No, it is. Now you can see Sergio Paulinho's got himself into an ideal position. He's pushing the Belarusian rider into first, looking over his shoulder, a last little check to make sure nobody comes up at the last moment, but they're not going to, because the gap is well over the 1 minute mark. Getting himself ready, pulling up that zip so he's got every bit of aerodynamic advantage that he might possibly require.
Well, this is a confident piece of riding, or a stupid one, by Kirienko, because he's going to have to lead this one out. Sergio Paulinho will not come out of that slipstream now. Kirienko riding on the right, so he knows he's forcing Paulinho to move on his left. He's watching for him. He looks as though he's riding on a track right now. He's waiting for the reaction, and he's going to have to beat him by half a second if he's going to stay in front of him. When is Paulinho going to move? He's stalking him up the home straight. Here he goes now, he breaks, and it was a little bit late there by Kirienko. He's going to have a very big kick now, because I think Paulinho has read that, and Kirienko waited that half second too long, and he's got him beat. Sergio Paulinho, I better keep digging. Oh my goodness me, he got it in the end, but in the end it wasn't by very much.
Well, that was a big lunge for the line. That was the kind of lunge that you learn when you're racing on the track. He waited a long time before coming up. This was the final burst for the line, but I think at this point Paulinho knew that he'd got it. Look at that lunge. That's the lunge of a track sprinter there, but Paulinho looked down. He knew he'd got it at that point, so Sergio Paulinho is going to be the winner of the stage, and now it's a question of who's going to run out in third place. And I have to say again, it's not going to be for the French this afternoon on Bastille Day.
Now, it's a 3-man sprint. It's for second place now.
This is for pride, really, for Mario Hertz. He's been a professional since 1996, but it's also pride for France. In second position there is Pierre Roland of B-Box Bouygues Telecom. He had dreamed all throughout this stage in this race-long breakaway of getting himself a victory for France, but are the Belgians going to take him to the cleaners?
So the man that started my favourite 10 tours for this rider here, and I thought Mario Hertz might have done it. He started the move, and there's the break from the back by Devenens. Devenens again, a rookie of the Tour de France, as he kicks away quickly onto his wheel is Pierre Roland. Roland would like at least third. He's going to have to give it special. Dries Devenens is too good. Pierre Roland is fourth, and Mario Hertz is fifth. There'll be a little while before we see Maxime Bouet.
Well, we'll probably have to wait a couple of minutes before Maxime Bouet comes. Well, there's the photo finish, Phil. And as you can see, as we pull the line up there, we're looking at around about a half a wheel advantage for the Olympic silver medalist from Athens, Sergio Paulinho. He got the jump, he got the gap at just the right time. And as you can see, the man in second position had a hard time pulling himself back up to the slipstream. He needed to be on the wheel immediately. But then this was a well-judged sprint. Paulinho looks across, but he knows he's got it. The lunge for the line just came that little bit too late for the man who's got the great track finish.
You get a split second to react, and if you don't react in that split second to a jump from the back, you don't win. It's as simple as that. And Paulinho did well to do that, because he's not renowned as a sprinter. He hasn't won a race since June 2008, when he won his national time trial championship. He hasn't won a race which is mass start since September 2006, when it was a stage of the Vuelta.
You can now see the teams of the sprinters starting to take control at the front end of the main field. I can see Lampreia very much in control at the front of the pack there. For Alessandro Petacchi, the kind of sprint that he likes, Phil, he likes the same kind of sprint as Mark Cavendish. He likes the team to line it up into a big long line and to have them. In fact, Nicholas Roach has survived.
Stayed away, so we're racing for even further. This is 7th place for Roach coming in.
Well, this is a good move by Roach. You know, he sees every opportunity, just like his dad. He looked for the opportunity to try and pull himself back a few seconds. 15 seconds here, 20 seconds there. That can be the difference between finishing inside of the top 10 or not.
Well, if he gets 26 seconds on the peloton, he will go above Bradley Wiggins, who sits 16th overall in the Tour de France at the moment. And he might have got more than just on half a minute's lead over the peloton. Big effort by Nicholas Roach, who is really developing into being a very, very good bike rider. And it's an empty straight down there. Well, that was a crafty little move. He's pinched a lot of seconds, and he will climb over Bradley Wiggins tonight.
Well, he's a man who came to the Tour de France with high hopes of finishing himself high up in the top 10 overall. He lost a few minutes in the mountains because he had a rather bad day. First of all, up to the Station de Rousse, and then a very bad day over the Col de la Madeleine. But he's a young rider, still learning, still developing, and it cracks me up sometimes, Phil, that they call him the Franco-Irishman.
Indeed, indeed, because with Nicolas or Nicolas, but the same can apply to Stephen. He's also speaks both languages fluently. And Poriol is coming over, and in fact, the arrival of Roach, he's now gone above Wiggins and Carlos Sastre, the 2008 winner, and he's likely to reach Michael Rogers of Australia, so he could be up to 14th in the Tour de France tonight, because the clock has already moved on.
Yeah, well, that's what he's looking for. He's looking to finish as highly up as he can in the overall standings. The main field now coming charging into the line, and it's still Lampre leading it out, but Thor Hushovd is locked onto the wheel of Alessandro Petacchi, and Robbie McEwen is there too.
But it's only for 9th place, but watch out, Cavendish is also there. There goes Petacchi. Now, Hushovd knows he's got to hold Petacchi here. He doesn't want to lose too many places. Cavendish is coming through the middle. That's a formality for Cavendish. Petacchi gets 1 point advantage over Hushovd. So he's had a good day, but it still will be Thor Hushovd in green tonight.
So, something of a collector's item for Tour Trivia fans, a Lance Armstrong teammate allowed to go for a stage win. It would never have happened if the boss had still been in the running, but Sergio Paulinho still had to take his opportunity, and he did it well.
Congratulations, a fantastic sprint. It was very close in the end. Were you very confident that you had won that?
Yeah, it's very close, but the much important is the victory. So in this moment, for me and for my team, is a good day, and I hope in the next days the team can do more victories.
There's no getting away from Radio Shack's leader, though. If it's not his current exploits, it's his past making the news in one form or another. And he was as conscious as anyone that the run-in took the race past the site of the most famous piece of mountain biking in Tour history.
Of course. I took it a little easier today than I did 7 years ago. I don't know if you noticed, but they've actually got it the path marked in yellow that you took. I didn't have time to look today. I heard something about that, but that was a lucky day. You know, I got really lucky.